For 2024, Cedar Fair kind of mixed up the game when it came to the season pass program. No longer do we have platinum passes and gold passes. We just have gold passes with a couple of different add-ons. Hello, everybody. Along with Don Helbig, I'm Ryan Sir, and this is Tower Topics.
Tower Topics is a podcast by Kings Island fans for Kings Island fans because that's who we are and that's who we care about. Ryan, what is going on with the all-park passport that they went to this year? Looking at social media, the fan sites, there seems to be a lot of confusion about it and what's included at each park.
Yeah, so I'm partially responsible for that, but let me give you the backstory of exactly what happened and how it was rectified. So let's start off from the bat saying this was rectified. So a friend of mine, this is actually last weekend, I was at Universal in Diagon Alley, I'll never forget, and I get a text from a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, and he happened to be in the Los Angeles area, and he's like, "You're never going to believe this." I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "I went to Knott's Berry Farm, and they scanned my pass, and they said that the all-park passport didn't work for parking if you didn't have a Knott's season pass." No, well, that doesn't sound right. And he's like, "Yeah, they're assuring me of it." He's like, "They let me through. They didn't make me pay, but they said next time I will have to pay." So essentially, it sounded like there was some sort of mix-up as far as what the parking for the all-park passport works. Now, to be clear, the all-park passport was sold to us as being tantamount to not a prestige pass, a platinum pass. I'm getting my P's mixed up.
Right, which had free parking at every Cedar Fair property.
Correct. So the assumption, of course, was that free parking would be included in all the properties with this one as well. But they were assuring otherwise. So, time goes on. I get back from Florida and, hung out with this friend again, and they brought it up, and they're like, I can't believe it. He's like, "Am I going to have to buy a prestige pass to get free parking at all the parks?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, at this point, we're not sure if that'll even get you free parking at all the parks because it seems like it's not clear as to what the rules are." So I took it to KICentral.com, friends of the show, and I said, like, "Hey, this is the experience my friend had. Has anybody heard anything like this?" Because often, I'll go on there and I'll be like, "Hey, I heard this." And then, there's such a robust community. They're like, "Yeah, we discussed that 3 days ago." So I thought maybe they'd have an answer, but no one seemed to. And, the rumors started swirling. Somebody else was saying that, "Oh, it also doesn't work in Canada's Wonderland," and places like that. So one of the users called Knott's Berry Farm, and they said, "No, it does not work. The all-park passport with the Kings Island Gold Pass does not work for parking here." And I just thought that was so odd. So the next day, I tried to call. They warned of long hold times. It ended up being, 15, 20 minutes. And I'm doing this on the side while I'm doing my normal day job. So hung up, tried again around 5 o'clock our time, got through. And the girl, very polite on the other end, said she thought it did work for Knott's, which was a very non-committal answer. So I get reached out to by Brad, who runs KI Central, who's been on several episodes of this show, and he said, "Hey, can you give me the contact information of your friend that was having trouble at Knott's? Mike Kuntz, the general manager of Kings Island, saw your post, and he wanted to make sure that the situation was rectified." So I was like, just make it clear to him that he wasn't charged for the parking. It's just we need to make sure that the situation is rectified because they're going to get into their busy season here in about a month. So I gave him the email address and the name. So he ended up getting a thing from Knott's Berry Farm's like guest relations. It was part of their like normal ticket as in like IT ticket kind of thing, like where it's a problem resolution thing. And it said, "We were reached out to by the office of Michael Kuntz of Kings Island, and he said that you had a little bit of trouble parking. We want to make sure that's rectified. Like, what's the last four of your card number so we can look it up and refund it to you and stuff." So obviously the information and the fact that he didn't get charged for it didn't make it all the way out. But I do want to thank Mr. Kuntz for being proactive. I didn't reach out to him personally. he made the effort of reaching out to make sure that this situation was rectified. So thank you for caring, Mr. Kuntz. It's not unappreciated.
Well, that's great to see, that Mr. Kuntz there at Kings Island, great guy, one of my favorite people that I worked with during my years at Kings Island. But question for you, Ryan. Why does it seem that it depends on what day of the week it is and who you're talking to at the different parks, what you're going to be told about what is and what is not included with this product?
I wish I had a great answer for you, Don. I'm not sure if it's a lack of communication or if it's just constant policy changes. Because as you probably recall, and we did a whole episode on this with the Prestige Pass, myself and when it first came out, it basically the wordage on the website was check the park you're going to see which benefits work there. So of course everybody got excited who bought it, and they called all the parks, and Carowinds said yes, and Cedar Point said yes. They were actually the only other two prestige parks at the time. So myself and many others were able to use all of the perks at Cedar Point, no questions asked. Then all of a sudden, we got the Tony Clark blog that says your benefits are only good at your home park. And then they followed that for a little bit. And then within a few months, it was like some of the benefits. And it was really weird because when we were at Cedar Point, my girlfriend and I, we were able to get the line skip things. We didn't try the preferred parking because we always stay at breakers, so that was irrelevant. But I've heard it does work. But we were turned away from the VIP lounge, of all things. So I'm not sure if it was a decision that originally it was, yes, it's good at all the parks. And then they told Tony, hey, put it out there that, it's only good at your home park. And then they changed their mind and said, no, that's not the best thing. Or if it's that maybe that was the rule and it was never communicated down that it's a no, or it was only communicated down to the people running the VIP lounge that it's a no. I think it's a real problem because when it comes down to it, this would never have been an issue. If this were still a Platinum Pass and somebody came in there and said, no, the Platinum Pass isn't good for parking, we think it's absurd. But after the whole thing with the Prestige Pass, where they changed the game on us quite a bit after we already bought the pass, already had our money, and they did it in a pretty sneaky way with changing the website and so on. The trust just isn't there. So the fact that this was on the table and it was a possibility and people were getting worked up about it as opposed to just thinking it's absurd that they wouldn't include parking at Knott's really kind of, it's a testament to how people feel nowadays. Like, would you agree with that?
Yeah, and after I started seeing these stories, Ryan, I go and I look at the website and what the all park passport includes, and it said in there that it was replacing the Platinum Pass, which I knew, from my time working there, that was in progress of being ready to be introduced before I left. And it said that this would even save you, money by buying a gold pass, adding this, than what you paid if you had platinum. Well, then I start to think about it. Well, if you are going to these parks and you do have to pay for parking at some of them, it's not cheaper than a platinum pass because you end up, $30, plus dollars every time you go to a different park. So a lot of confusion out there. It shouldn't be. It's not that hard, you would think. The technology's out there. Everybody should be aligned. The communication, when you talk about benefits, I'm thinking with that, it means some parks had the haunt was included with park admission, others a separate, admission, things like that, or early ride time. Everybody's got a different, some parks do it, some parks don't. That's why I looked at as the benefits may not be the same at every park.
Correct.
So if you go somewhere, don't expect early ride time, you might not get that. I don't really look at parking being part of that. I look at that as being part of the admission package, that it's good at every park. It gets me parking, it gets me through the gate. Anything after that, yeah, I agree that it may differ park to park.
Yeah, the way that I interpreted it was kind of the same.
But the parking, though, but the parking should be very clear. It should be transparent. They should be calling it out on the website. Every park should have that little thing where they have the check marks, free parking, just so it's very clear, no questions asked. I've got season passes to different parks, and everything about it that I thought I was going to get has has been that. It's exactly what I thought I was buying in the fall. There's been no surprises, no changes of the terms and conditions. I know exactly what I'm going to get. I get constant communication. Whether it's through you get a text message with updates about something. Click here, go to the website. I get emails. With different things. I'm not getting peppered with sales messages all the time, asking me to upgrade, and get dining and all those kind of things. No, they're telling me stories about what's going on. I'm getting first looks at things. One park they're retracking, their ride, their roller coaster. So I'm getting like updates on that. They've been great communicating to me as a pass holder exactly what's going on in the park, and everything is very clear. You get parking, you get this, you get that with the season pass that I selected. And I don't know why it can't be that clear when you buy one of the Cedar Fair passes that whatever park you're going to, you're going to get in the front gate and you're going to get parking. It shouldn't be that hard.
I agree. And going back to when you said, the benefits may vary. The way that I interpreted that, and probably the way that most interpreted it, is that's their waiver from people going to Worlds of Fun, for example, and saying, "Where's your VIP lounge?" when they don't have one. But when it came down to, I've got a pass, and if I get the dining plan, it's good at all the parks that my pass is good for. I think it's reasonable to assume that the benefits from the Prestige would also be available at the other parks that have that. I don't think that's out of line, but obviously.
But it shouldn't be confusing though, Ryan. You're buying a pass. Everybody should understand clearly what it includes. I don't know why there's conflict or why people don't understand, what they're getting, at this park or that park.
Mm-hmm.
What's so hard about it, especially the parking part? And why? Here's the other thing. Why, when you call a park, like I said earlier, depending on what day of the week it is and who you're getting, you're going to get a different answer. Why is there not consistency there with that? Everybody who works in a call center should be equipped with a little sheet in front of them that says exactly what you get with these passes. So they're not telling you no when you do, or telling you do, and you show up and you don't. Yeah. I think just the communication, internal communication, really needs to improve there. That's my opinion of it.
Yeah.
Based on what I'm reading. I'm not calling these parks myself, but based on what I'm seeing on KI Central, based on what I'm seeing on the Season Pass Facebook group and elsewhere, I check the other parks too, what their guests are saying and things every day. And there always seems to be a lot of confusion when it comes to season passes and what's involved.
Yep, I agree. And part of me thinks that it may be a communication issue. The other part, though, is that the Prestige thing worked so well that maybe it's intentionally vague so they can come up with the terms later. That's a little bit of a conspiracy theory. But when you've got, call the park for benefits. Well, if we cut the VIP lounge out of Canada's Wonderland for 2024 because of a budget cut, you were supposed to call. They don't have it anymore. I hate to think that that's within the realm of possibility, but I was paying attention the last 2 days, 2 years.
I think when it comes to those terms and conditions, it's okay if for whatever reason you have to maybe cut some operating days or change the hours. You were going to be open 10 to 10, now you're 10 to 8, something like that. That's what I look at as a terms and conditions could change. If it says you get VIP lounge, now you don't. Once you buy it, you should get what you paid for.
Yeah, and just for the sake of the shield of the product itself, make it consistent. They took the water out of the VIP lounge during Winterfest and replaced it with hot chocolate that you had to pay for. Water, the tap water, that's been the running meme. They took that out. They took away the free stuff. And then, what was funny was they had snacks and stuff, which were really weird because 2022, when they first had it, when the Prestige Pass came out, they had great snacks. And then as soon as, they already had your money, they started having these generic snacks. They were the same snacks they had in the VIP area of the Timberwolf during concerts, actually. So not a problem with the snacks, but the quality definitely degraded. And then this year it opens, and the snacks were like, some days it had pretty decent stuff, and other days it was like, all we have are sour cream and onion chips. So I hope you like it, and that's how it is all day. And then when they're trying to sell you the Prestige Pass again, starting in August, they all of a sudden had cookies, and they had Cheez-Its, and they stuff like that they didn't normally have. So it's kind of like, I've seen this movie before. So yeah, the consistency is definitely problematic. And yeah, I always make the joke when people online say, like, should I buy the Prestige Pass? I'm like, as somebody that had it in 2023, I will tell you this. If you think that the Prestige Pass is right for you, I've got a bridge in Brooklyn that I think might be a great investment for you. But so just to recap the pass options. So in the past, it was a Gold Pass would get you into your home park. Let's say from the perspective of Kings Island, to get you into Kings Island. The Platinum Pass would get you into all the Cedar Fair properties, and the Prestige Pass would get you into either your park or all the park, plus whatever revolving door of benefits they decide to have for that particular day. Nowadays, the tier starts at Silver. The Silver Pass gets you into the park from opening day until Labor Day, right? So it does not include Honor Winterfest. And that has all the benefits of a Gold Pass, except it does not get you early entry. From there, you have the Gold Pass. I think most of you are familiar with that, where it's all season and, it gets you early entry, 10% off, and so on. From there, they've got the Prestige Pass, which is a couple of different benefits. As I mentioned, it's 15% off instead of 10, access to the VIP lounge, one time skip the line per visit, and a slew of other little things like enhanced pass perks if that becomes a thing. But the difference though now is that as opposed to buying a Platinum Pass, you would buy whichever respective pass, whether it's Gold or it's Prestige, and then you add on the All Park Passport to make it so that your pass is good at all the parks. And then of course you can add dining and stuff like that, and the price is adjusted if you get a higher tier. But yeah, it's a little bit of a weird situation. But again, I'm very grateful that Mr. Kuntz was, a productive member of the Kings Island team and reached out and got it rectified. And now my friend's happy and the information's out there and we're good.
So if I were to go online after our podcast, go to the Kings Island website, buy a Gold Pass, add the All Park Passport to it, I will get free parking at the other parks, correct? From what you've gathered at the end of the day after all these different exchanges and that.
It has been, I want to say this legally almost, but it's been implied to me that it's good at all the properties. I know it's good at Kings Island, and I know it's good at Knott's Berry Farm. Some people are also saying it's not good at Canada's Wonderland. I don't know if there's grounds for that or if it's true or not, but I have not personally investigated that. I would say with 95 to 99% certainty, it's good at all the properties. But there is still that element of doubt. But yeah, it would be nice if there was clarification on the website saying, yes, it includes parking. People should know that, Heck, it's a sales point. Why wouldn't you put that out there?
Yeah, just love to see a degree of transparency there so everybody knows what they're getting. There's no surprises when you travel from, say, Cincinnati to California to go to Knott's Berry Farm, and then you get there and, pull out your credit card because you got to pay to park here.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on to the listener questions. The first one comes from Jeremy Holland. He said, Don, your post on Twitter of the Beastie entrance brought back childhood memories. It was my first roller coaster. Thanks for all you do for the Kings Island fans. That's not a question, but Don.
No, it's not a question. But, thanks, Jeremy. But, I've got a lot of Kings Island photos and things that, I enjoy sharing on my channels. And, the people that follow me, they seem to like when I talk about historical, moments in Kings Island's history and things like that. So, Jeremy, if you like that one, there's a lot more coming from your childhood.
Yahoo! I think they should bring back the name The Beastie, don't you?
Never should have changed.
Yeah, that was the best name that ride's had of all. I feel like it's like a woman that's had like 5 different husbands with how many names it's had. Yeah. All right. The next one comes from Becky W. My question is for Ryan. Who wears a Hawaiian shirt better, you or Don? Well, of course I do. I don't know. You
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 think
have
so?
more Hawaiian shirts than I do, though, by far.
I have yeah, I've got 37 of them so
Hmm.
far, but I think Ryan that the Hawaiian shirt it just seems to go better with bald heads.
That's true because it screams to me like retiree, doesn't give a care in the world. Made some smart
Yeah,
investments in Bitcoin in
you
2007.
got yeah, I mean you got the tanned head, you got the Hawaiian shirt, makes it look like you're outdoors all the
It
time.
does make you seem
That's just my
outdoorsy.
thoughts. I don't
Now,
know,
I am wearing my
but they
class.
look good on you. They do look good. They do look good on
Well,
you, Ryan.
thank you. I bought one at Kohl's at the recommendation of your wife, actually. And that was expensive. That was like $25. But I bought a 5 pack, kind of like underwear on Amazon. So when we went to IAPA last year, I had a different one every day. I'm wearing my Class B uniform today for you audio listeners, wearing a Bucky shirt. But
Oh, Ryan, Bucky shirt. I got to tell you that I will be hitting a Bucky's tomorrow, and I'm just so excited. I know I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight.
which Bucky's? New one?
I'm going to hit the one in Richmond, and then I'll hit the one in
Oh, are you
Sevierville,
heading down to Pigeon?
or technically Kodak, Tennessee.
Yeah, it's there's they consider it Sevierville though. Bucky's stuff. No, they consider it
Yeah,
what's the
I'm in East End. Yeah, they say Sevierville on the sign for Bucky's.
yeah, I can't think of the name of the city. The Kodak is the name of the town, but what's the big city that you drive through on the way to
You're on the outskirts of, I think, Knoxville, if you're thinking that.
maybe no I think no I think you're right. I think it's just Sevierville. I'm losing my mind. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. 407, exit 407, right on your way to Dollywood. So that's
It
pretty
is.
cool. You gonna get yourself a melt?
I'm going to get myself a melt, definitely.
Perfect. All right. Next listener question comes from Jim G. I faintly remember watching a Gold Pass bike jump in front of the KI Theater promoting Robbie Knievel. Can you share the story and refresh my memory? Thanks. Was there a bike jump?
There was
There was a press
a
event.
little bit of promote. Yeah, there was a press event. There was some promotion for it, and we had some, you know, I guess teenagers and that. We had them on bikes doing some stunts and things out in front of the theater, and then Robbie came out and did some wheelies in that. And there was like Gold Pass signage everywhere because it was approaching the Gold Pass deadline. Get your gold or it goes away. Memorial Day weekend, remember those days?
Yeah.
And that's what that was about.
Yeah, okay. Well, I was there. I got to interview Robbie Knievel. Thanks again for that. I still show that video to people every once in a while. But I was
Yeah.
more with you guys than I was with the general public that day because we were walking around with Robbie backstage and stuff. So maybe I just didn't catch that. But I do remember he made an entrance in front of the fountain. He pulled a wheelie, drove up, and did a
Yeah, he was in front of the theater and he did a couple things. He went from, like the corner of it, maybe down to where he wasn't supposed to go that forward. He kind of went down by where Delirium is and then kind of came back up and, did a few things right in front of the theater, circled around, parked it, went upstairs to talk.
yeah. Cool. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, like I said, the Robbie Knievel, that whole week was one of my favorite weeks as far as Kings Island is concerned. But the Robbie Knievel day might actually be my favorite visit to the park ever.
Yeah, that was a spectacle, wasn't it?
It certainly was, and it. Yeah, I mean, and what's cool. I mean, I'm not. I don't want to. I want to be careful with my words, but Robbie has passed away recently, so God rest his soul. Nobody else is going to see that guy jump. And you and I can always tell our kids and grandkids and so on that we were front row center for one of his jumps and got to hang out with him all week and stuff. So,
You know what the weirdest thing, we're getting off track here, but the thing that was always interesting with that was every evening when I would go over to meet up with him at Great Wolf Lodge, there was somebody else as part of his entourage that would be there. And these were real notable
yeah.
people. And one of them was, there used to be a show, Grizzly
Yeah.
Adams. So the actor Dan Hager, he's sitting there at the bar with Robbie and he's like, hey, meet my friend Grizz, and that kind of thing. And there were some other ones that were from different shows, a lot of it from Robbie's childhood, who he grew up around and that, came in. But by the time we did the jump, he maybe had like 100 people that he had brought
Well,
in.
even his staff, like Spanky Spangler, if you look on IMDb, like that dude's done a lot of stuff in like Hollywood and so on.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it was, yeah, a very memorable time, and we'll have to revisit that again. I know we've done an episode about Robbie's jump, but we'll circle back to that again in May as we get closer to the date.
Yeah, let's do an episode on the lead up to it and kind of go a little bit more in depth with our experiences beforehand. And then once we have a Halloween episode, we can do it for the half pint brawlers and that ridiculousness of how those guys were. That was so funny.
Yeah, that's why we love these questions though, because they rekindle a lot of memories for us. So, if you've got questions, go to our X and just fire away.
Awesome. All right, I'm Ryan Sir along with Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topics.